Hey, this video is for the couple people that reached out to me on Facebook about permaculture design in the implementation of saving your village and otherwise feeding folks. And I'm going to just turn that light there. I am a pasty white guy, and so I may not have a position to tell somebody that they need to be strong. But my point being is that begging is not going to get you where you need to be. So I'm going to lay out my plan for you, and I'm going to share it, of course, with my subscribers because uh, success, well-being, and wealth in your community comes from these important traits. First off, I'm Justin Hitt, and you can probably hear the ping in the background. So I have offered these individuals to money to produce videos in the local community implementing permaculture design. So if you're not familiar with permaculture, permaculture is a holistic way of managing land and preparing for food, providing for both the earth and for the individuals. So it has a people ethic. And so raising quality food in a community environment would help feed the children that these individuals are legitimately trying to feed. Now they're asking for money, so it could be a scam. I don't know. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Some of the starving children pictures are stock photos. But here's my point. I'm more than willing to help with systems that clean water, systems that feed people, but I need to do it within a mutual exchange. I don't give money to people. If I do give to charities, which I've given to charities in the past and do presently, I give to charitable organizations to which I have a high level of understanding that the quality of their work is very high. Again, sending money overseas. I have a couple select organizations that I have for international, for example, that I'll send to because I know they're doing good work. But here's the point, though. You cannot solve your lack of money problems with more money. Let me explain. This is very important. This is one of the principles we talk about in the Sustainable Wealth Secrets newsletter, is that if you do not have money and you do not have a means to accumulate or produce money, then um, you're in a bad situation for money to just show up. First off, it's not likely to happen. But let's say somebody gave you $100,000. Would you have the skills to keep that money? Would you have the skills to invest the money and make it grow? Because that might be a once in a lifetime event. And if someone gave you $100,000 and it vaporized because you didn't have the skills, because you didn't have a project to put it in, because you didn't have the mindset to implement it, because you didn't have the return on investment to grow it, then you would have lost an opportunity rather than to create an opportunity. If you're trying to grow food and you need seeds and you cannot figure out a way to get seeds, then giving you seeds is not going to help you plant and grow a harvest. For example, and now we're talking geopolitical, like we talk about inside strategic relations. Let's say, for example, I say, hey, I acknowledge that you're starving and you need seeds and irrigation. I'm going to provide you seeds and irrigation. I'm going to provide you GMO seeds that are patented that you cannot use in any other environment, but you can use them to feed yourself, like some magic rice or something, or magic beans. And then I'm going to offer you irrigation systems that you cannot repair. That is the typical aid program because it binds the community in poverty and provides a channel to generate additional revenue through fundraising. Do you want to be a slave or do you want to be a free man? Do you want to be a leader in your community or a servant to some multinational organization or some NGO, non-governmental organization? Now, again, not all of these programs are doing that. There are legitimate United Nations programs. There are legitimate, well, there's illegitimate United Nations programs too. It's quite a number of times that they've gotten in trouble for things like human trafficking that ought not to happen with the United Nations. But my point being is, what if you had the skills in order to find the seeds, to grow the food, to serve the people, to lead your community, to build a stronger community starting in your own household, and then eventually not need to beg Westerners for money? And I mean no disrespect. I understand when times are rough. I've been homeless before. Okay. I've had financial problems before. But there's other times where I'm dropping checks for like 25K, 50K. I don't really care. Just making it happen because the money's going to a good cause. So I've been a part of political action committees. I've seen big dollar contributors and how that system works. I've been a part of nonprofit organizations that legitimately help people in communities. And I've contributed to organizations that I feel, like I said, Heifer International, that I feel are giving in good value to make people self-sustaining rather than dependent on the outside world. So something is happening in Africa today, which I may have no credibility to tell you, but Africa has resources that the rest of the world wants. Why wouldn't Africa be able to care for Africa? Africans take care of Africans, and countries unite rather than fight. Now, these factions and these warring parties and stuff, I grew up in an age where the starving children in Ethiopia, not knowing that the food crisis in Ethiopia was perpetuated by political activity. Again, your ability to defend yourself, your ability to feed yourself, your ability to speak clearly and communicate, those are powerful tools to resolve the issues or situations you're facing. Now, I ask these individuals to take some video. I don't care if it's on their camera. I don't care if it's on someone else's camera. I don't care if they use a potato. I'm looking for a video that shows implementation because that will demonstrate effort and a forward movement. I've also connected these individuals with each other. So a lot of times if they're scamming, they hate that because if there's a scammer in their area and I connect them with another scammer, and I've talked about this before, I have enough newsletter subscribers and enough media exposure to attract quite a few scammers. And again, no disrespect, but I will say things, and I'll scroll down a little bit. I mean no disrespect. I'm willing to help, but money isn't the solution. I'll also say things like, and I'm editing for privacy purposes because these are not bad people. Basically, I introduced them to a media reporter that covers the topic in which the area in which I want them to do a video. And that reporter has cameras. That reporter has video. That reporter could put them on the local news. That publicity would build awareness for their situation and help them get the help that they need in country help. Country that probably doesn't come with weird strings. If you're not aware of how foreign aid works, very often one country will loan money to another country in exchange for that country losing its freedoms. I'm not naming names, but ultimately what I said after introducing this reporter that's in their region, it's like maybe 30 kilometers away, says, let's give him a story of a strong community leader using permaculture to feed his village instead of relying on people outside of Africa. Now that sounds heartless. That sounds like I'm being mean. But if you can't take care of your family and your community, you have to expect that anybody else that would do that for you is seeking to take away other things from you other than your dignity. And so the solutions that I offer is, how do we clean the water? How do we grow an abundance of food? How do we maintain soil health? How do we maintain nutritional health for families? You may not be aware, but the gut biome impacts thinking and ability. Do you want those children not only to be fed, but to increase their IQ and to improve their ability to learn? And what better subject to teach them than to be self-sufficient and grow their own food? What better topic to teach them than to be able to work with their fellow neighbor to build community, to build a tribe that is strong and respected by other communities, not through warfare, but through abundance, being able to grow the food that you want and be able to grow that surplus in order to provide to other people is much more powerful than money. You don't need a camera. You don't even need to be paid to do these videos. The big difference is, though, is I can take the video and put it in U.S. media. And then as a third party, I can say, look at these great things they're doing in Africa. Look what they're doing in Kenya. Look what they're doing in Cameroon. Look what they're doing here. And then I can position it as, why aren't you doing more? And what that sets up is an emotional bind where the individual is either going to do something to improve themselves, or they're going to pay money to improve your charitable organization. Now, for me to save face, I need to make sure you're a real charitable organization. And so either I'm going to move the money back through a charity that I am aware is profitable, and I will coordinate to make sure they go to that village to do the work, and when I say profitable, a charitable organization that receives a dollar and the majority of that dollar goes to the individuals is a profit and a blessing to the individuals who receive it because it comes with education. So again, you two guys need to work together. And then the reporter that I gave you, you reach out to the reporter, and if you don't have a camera, you do the very best garden you can do, and you tell the story, and I'll be happy to coach you on this for free. This is something I do, by the way, and if you're interested watching this video, I'll form a group, and we'll talk about this on not a Facebook group, but we'll actually be inside my coaching environment, and we'll talk about how you can set up a demonstration, and then what's the story that we're going to use in order to make it of interest to the reporter, because the reporter's best interest is to share those stories of success in Kenya, or those success in Africa, or those success in the Middle East, or those success in Appalachia, United States, or those successes in South America. And through this network, and the reason why we want to republish in the United States, and the reason my team will take the time to edit your videos and to put marketing around them and to write content for them, is because U.S. advertising markets pay much more. So I pay somebody to do a $5 video, I can recover the $5, and then I can pay them again. And so then they made $10. If I can't recover the $5, then it's too much of a risk on my part when I could just produce a video like this and make $5. Now, I'm not making $5 a video. That's not the way it works. So I'm willing to take a little bit of risk as long as the individuals on the other side are also willing to put a little bit of effort. And this is very important to understand. So in a chat, I sound like a pompous ass. What is this white man doing telling folks in Africa to stand up and take care of themselves? You know, well, I would welcome the advice for me too. If I sounded like I was begging and somebody in Africa told me that, you need to be strong and you need to take care of your family, and I'm not asking you to go, I'm not trying to buy you a camera. I'm telling you to go find a camera. I'm telling you to go find the seeds. I'm telling you to build the community. I'm telling you to work with other people in your neighborhood and community, and don't look for a solution on the outside. I would welcome that advice. So again, this isn't an identity. Identity politics looks so much like ideology, but ultimately this is human to human. Human to human. I can share with you insights and knowledge that'll help you get the money that you need. But I can also show you how to get what you want without the money. And building that foundation gives you stability, because children are our future. Children are the most important thing that we need, and they need leaders who are innovative and able to find solutions where others think there's no solution exists. People that know how to create wealth without money. So good food, clean water, good shelter, that is wealth. Now you add to that education on how to perpetuate that. So children working in a garden, they'll get to see where the food comes from, and they'll want to eat it rather than eating commercial food. See, I wrote a big article, and I'm not going to go into details here, about human as livestock. Very often people in power treat others as if they're livestock. And so they'll feed you manufactured food. They will make you drink manufactured drinks. They will prepare a regiment for you rather than giving you the freedom to prepare it yourself. Now, a lot of people prefer that. And that's why they're looking for the money. They want the money. They want the dollars. They want the clout. None of that will help you have a long-term solution. If you want to help the orphans in your village, which it seems all these folks have orphans in their village, then you find out what works well for helping orphans in your village, which is very often a community garden, work training programs. A lot of these kids are very young, though, so they're not going to learn how to hammer in a nail, but they might learn how to help their mothers around the house. They might learn how to a lot of these buildings are mud daub. They might learn how to smack some mud against a wall, and then how much fun that is to work together with their friends. They might have exercise and activities that help them build their strength and get good food. We need to find solutions, and permaculture doesn't just put a Band-Aid on things. It looks for sustainable solutions through an analysis of the systems that impact change. And so if you're going to get the attention you need to generate the resources, not necessarily the money, but the resources to serve your community, you must start where you're at. What is it that you have today that you can leverage in order to get results. Now, I commend them because they're using their mobile phones and a Facebook app to reach all the way across the planet to somebody in another country, but the hope of receiving funds is not of value. This example, connecting you with a local reporter, there isn't any reason why you can't connect with another reporter somewhere else on the planet. But you got to have something that's going to benefit the reporter. And by doing that, you can connect to Al Jazeera and get a big audience there. There's a lot of Chinese media that's currently in Africa. And you can also connect with the U.S. Media, which would draw attention to the problem. Now, again, if I'm being scammed, they don't want attention to the problem. They want the money. But if you draw attention to the problem and your successes, now you're coming from a position of strength. You're coming from a position of here's what we're doing, and if only we could do more. Here's the children we're feeding, if only we could do more. And then those children gaining the skills of communications, gaining the skills of agriculture, gaining the trade skills that are around those, gaining the skills of building community, now reinforce the valuable things that you are finding to work, and you go even further. So again, I am rude, I am direct, and I am assuming or actually imposing upon you that you do something to solve your problem. I am not sending any money without a valuable exchange of goods and services. It's not because I don't feel good when I give money away, but I don't, inflation's high in America too. We're going to have Zimbabwe dollars here before you know it, $1 trillion bills in the U.S. And then, of course, if there's a worldwide war, then it's going to screw up too. But again, nothing trumps growing your own food, taking care of your own community, and developing systems that educate and build up the strength to reinforce those things that you want rather than what you don't want. So again, I'm rooting for you. I want you to succeed. I want you to get the results, and I can help you with the insight and knowledge. I've got a whole library of materials, and I'll work with you one-on-one. In fact, if you're interested, you can visit www.prosperityhomestead.org and ask questions about agricultural and permaculture and community development, and I'll be more than happy to form some kind of regular weekly session. But the expectation is that you're doing all the work. Not only are you doing all the work, but you're getting all the praise and success for it, because we're going to position you as a leader in your community. And then through that leadership, connect you with publicity, the fourth estate, to broaden and amplify the good things that you're doing. And then ultimately, because you have a strong foundation, any money you might receive or might not receive will go in multiples to grow and produce prosperity. I'm Justin Hitt. The agricultural website that we have is prosperityhomestead.org. My consulting website that talks about the strategy and political economic situation is Inside Strategic Relations at www.insidestrategicrelations. And I'm here. I really do want to help, but I'm not gonna help you by giving you money, because the money isn't the solution. The skills and systems is the solution. The valuing yourself as a human rather than a beggar is the solution. The building up of the insights that you need to apply knowledge is the solution. Your ability to connect and build strong communities of support is the solution. If you're interested in those things, then let me know and I'll be happy to help. We're going to get group programs together. I already have a coaching program that we talk about some of these things. But again, I'll create custom content all day for you because I know it's going to work. I know it's going to help. I know it's something you can share. So again, I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations and Prosperity Homestead. And this message is for two people. If it touched you as well, I'd love to hear it. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next podcast.